So for the next section we're going to move into some detailing around the face. We've got the basic character shape. We can just check it in Subdividing Mode by hitting keyboard C. You can see fairly smoothed, hit C twice there, so a fairly smooth character, and we've got the basic body outline quite well defined. So we use V to come back out of that. So this section now we're going to concentrate on just getting the basic loops and edge loops for the nose, mouth, the eyes, the horns and the ears, and then once we've got the correct loops set up, we'll start on a later pass we'll start putting some real detail. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just have a quick look around to see that everything's looking fairly symmetrical. So I'm just tweaking, using control, just moving with the left mouse button, and I'm just thinking here about jaw line. So you can see there, that's the jaw line with the ear there, or the start of the ear there. The eyes will be coming in here, nose in the centre obviously, and then we'll probably get the horns coming out of this sort of area here. They come out the front. So what we don't want to be doing is putting any loops in that go too far out of the body, so I might make a lot of triangles at this stage, and then we'll fix them a little bit further down the line if needed. So first job, then we'll just put some splits using keyboard X. Put some splits through here. That'll give me a bit more geometry to work with. And a bit of tweaking. And we'll just cut that all the way back there. Should have done that before. Okay, so we're going to use this one here for this area here for the eyes. We're going to extrude a nose out through the center there, and then build some loops around that, and then drop a mouth in sort of along here. So in fact I'll split that now, selecting those three, and then just shift and X, I'll just split that and I'll drop the mouth in there and then correct that. So nose, mouth, eyes, eyebrows. We're going to have horns up here. In fact, a quick way to define that horn is to do an extrude, and then with tweaking just make that square into roughly the horn shape, and that just gives me a guide to know that the horns are going to come out of there. I probably will drop a loop right the way through. In fact, looking at it, I'm going to drop a loop now. So I'm just going to select right the way around using Alt and A just to have a look how far that would go, and I'm fine with that. So Shift and X, I'll put a loop right the way through, and then with tweaking single verts we'll put the horn, the roundness into the horn. Looking a little Hellboyish here at the moment, which is not particularly what I was after, but we won't moan at that. Ears, as we've said, are going to be set slightly back from the horns, which is going to be around here, keeping that jaw line. I want an edge loop to come around here eventually, so I'm bearing that in mind all the time. Now what I'm going to do is just cut some more polygons along here. Up over the back won't be a problem, like so. What will allow me to do is just correct this sort of area here. I'm just selecting edges and removing them where I see problems building up. Just looking at that, so that one's fine. Fine, there's leaving us a triangle there, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm just looking for a group of polygons that I can make into this ear, or the area that will become the ear. So I think I'm going to stick with these two here. It's not a normal ear, so normally I would just extrude a box, but I'm going to go for those four there. And using keyboard Z, I'm going to extrude out a couple of times. Move it back, scale it back, move it back again, scale it down. That's an ear area, you can see. Bit of tweaking, individual verts again. And we're going to be able to quickly make that ear shape just by extruding inwards there, but I'm not going to do that just yet, as I'm still just looking for shapes. It's highlighted a problem there. That's a really nasty polygon there, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is take that out altogether, and that gives me an end on there. Go back to point mode. I'm just going to cut myself some new geometry in there. Just using the cut tool again. Might be going a little bit fast now, so I'll try and slow down. But all the tools that I'm using are ones that I've covered off either in the basic videos or during this video. So I'm just looking for opportunities to improve the polygon flow, so that I'm not ending up, oops, didn't want to do that, not ending up with any really nasty polygons anywhere. So that you can see the flow around the ear now is coming quite nicely. All the way around the bottom there. It's left us with this polygon here, which isn't too good. But that's going to be corrected any second now. In fact, I'm going to correct it like that and leave it there with a triangle there, and we'll come back and remove that later. So the basic ear shape I'm happy with. The chin now is not defined enough for me, so I'm going to pull that chin area down. Wasn't a square enough jawline really, so bring that down. The mouth, you can see the sort of shape that I'm going to be looking for is in there. In there. Okay, the eye, which I'm going to do now, will be in there, which is absolutely fine. And there'll be quite a chunky eyebrow going across the middle there. So we'll do that now actually. Extrude the eyebrow out. Tweak it down a little bit. And I'm going to start working on what will become the eye. And take the opportunity to do what will become the nose as well. I'm going to move that out of the way for now. Now straight away there, I know I need more polygons in the middle there, so I'm going to run a split that will run all the way from the centre to about here. So I'm selecting there and there. And if I just use Alt and E, that will select all the way in between. I'll just split them out to there, and I'll leave myself here. I think I'll just leave a triangle. Again, I'll come back and correct that. So now we can work a little bit more on the eye because we've got more polygons in the middle. I'm aiming for an edge loop around there. The nose shape just coming together a little bit better. And that mouth will be an extrude in, which will give me a nice loop all the way around like so. And I've got to be able to work out some of the lip area in a moment, so that's fine. I'm going to get rid of that triangle there now, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to add in, not like that, I'm going to add in a cut from there to there, and just bring it right the way through, out here, and end it there. And then that's also helped us with the lip. And we do definitely need a split that will run something like all the way through there to about here. You can see all the way through there is fine, but no further. Now I'm just going to use oops. I'm going to select quite a few polygons in certain places. I'm just looking for an area to start doing some smooths. So all I'm doing here is selecting small amounts where I know I want them to smooth it out, and then rolling my mouse wheel forward with Alt and Shift, and it's just tightening up the polygons for me wherever I feel that there's a need for it. And bring that nose back up there. You can hopefully you can start to see a shape being defined now. That will be an upper lip. This will be a lower lip. Coming down to the corner of the mouth, we're going to need a cheek along here, which we'll cut in a moment, and then what will become the cheekbone and the eye. As we've done, we'll push that up a little bit. A loop around here, around the edge, around the cheekbone. And that's working fine for me. You can see now we're looking back a little bit, we're getting the shape that we want, the Minotaur. Now, just to help the shape along a little bit, I'm going to start doing some of the extruding on the horn area. You can see how much tweaking I'm doing. That mouse and the control button is working all the time. I'm going to select this end and extrude out and start looking at the shape of the horn just from all angles, using different either move or rotate depending on, or scale depending on the type of movement I want, looking for opportunities to move it around. You can use what's called a path extrude for this if you needed to, which we'll cover off perhaps later. But I find it quite intuitive just to do a little bit of moving, do a little bit of tweaking, and doing it by hand just gets everything in the right place first time. Again, it's personal preference. There's loads of opportunities to do things different ways. So no right way, just lots of different ways. You can see now I'm just making that horn fit the character, making that round as I can. You can see this coming together quite quickly. Keeping it in relation to the reference that I'm looking at, which you can't see. Again, if you've got this in the background, if you were doing point by point modeling, or even with this type of modeling, you could switch to another view and see it in the background. I'm not using that type of method with this box model. This is very free form, as we've said all along. So one thing to do is if I hit spacebar and go to the quad view, you can see it from all the different angles. So here it is from the front, here it is from the top. There's a UV view that we're not going to use. So if I look at it from the right hand side there, that can sometimes help you with the shapes of something like this horn that we're doing now. So you can be tweaking in this mode and looking at that mode. Not a particularly favourite way of doing it for me. Again, it's personal preference. It's such a user-friendly piece of software in terms of different ways of working, that if this suits you, then this is what you use. Again, totally about the job, really. And if that's what you want to use, I'll switch back by using space. If you want to use that, then combine box modeling with point-by-point modeling, which I think everybody does. So there's the horns for now. So may need a bit of tweaking later, but we've got them in place for now. We may even delete them and rework them later, but for the moment we've got something to refer to as we're modeling the rest of the character. So go back to tweaking the head area, bring that brow down in the center somewhat. Let's do a bit more work on the eye. So again, we pulled that out for the cheekbone. I'm going to extrude in again. Extrude in again and again. Bring that one out a little bit. And again, and shrink it. And again, and indent it. So what that's done, it's given me lots of polygons to work from. And I'm going to push that right into the head with move. You can see even go inside the head if you want. You can see that I'm now indenting that somewhat, like so. Not created any holes in the mesh, because at this stage I don't want that. And now what I'm going to do is quickly tweak the eye into an eye shape. Wherever possible, stuff like this, use a reference, whether it be your own reference or whether it be photographic, and you use it from a realistic eye. The more realistic at this stage, the better. I'm just working off my own reference here. Now in a moment I'm going to put in a temporary eyeball that will help us to build the eye shape around that. But before I put that in, I just want to build up what I would think to be the normal sort of shape of an eye, really. Again, this very fictional character, it's a Minotaur, but it would have a humanoid eyeball, an eye socket. So before we put that temporary one in, we'll just make it a little bit more user friendly, like so. Bear in mind the eye shape is, the way an eye is shaped is because of the shape of the socket and the shape of the actual ball itself, and the skin, like the eyelid wrapping around the eyeball, so it's very curved. Quite often with models like this, what I would do is use box modeling for most of the model, and then go in and point by point model something like the eye, or chop out the eye that we've put in. Not very nice terminology, I know, chopping out the eye, but chop that out and put in a new piece of geometry that does exactly the job that you're after. So what we'll do now is just, we've got a socket there. In fact, I was going to put an eyeball in, but it's actually gone a little bit too small for my liking, so I'm going to go to cell here, soft selection, just see how big the radius is. It's too much, so bring it down with rolling the mouse wheel backwards, like so, and then holding down Control, I'm going to drag the eye into the shape that I think it needs to be. Not worried about the nose at the moment, because we're going to go back in and fix that. I'm going to open that eye up a little bit, keeping the shape overall. You can run a few smooths if you need to, but I don't think we need to just yet. Okay, that's a bit better. And then go create, and we'll have a sphere. Sphere's down here. I'm going to rotate it forward, like so. I'll shrink it down somewhat. And then I'm just using a move command, object mode, then move command. I'm going to subdivide it twice, shrink it down again, using the move command. Just locating it by hand now into its socket. Maybe a little bit larger. And that's going to be my temporary eyeball. So I'm now going to pull the eyeball around that. What you can do, just to make it even, is make a mirror, so that we've got two of them. So we're going to have it around there. Just switch with spacebar, just switch back to the front view. Selection, set object access. In fact, to be honest, I'm not going to change the access at all. I'm going to just simply copy it and paste it, because it will be deleted. It makes no difference whatsoever. Go back to my 3D view, click on the model itself in object mode, keyboard F object mode, keyboard A back to point mode, still in soft selection, and now we can pull that eyeball where we want that eye socket around the eye to give us a nice rounded look. If you want to quickly check it in Sub D, hit C, and you can see it's very, very basic at the moment. Now what I'm doing there is I'm tweaking it in Subdivided Mode. Again, it's very much about your own preference. I personally don't do this a lot at all. I like to finish a model as much as possible in its basic polygon form before I do any great amount of tweaking in Subdivided Mode. Once you start to tweak in Subdivided Mode, things get a little bit more complicated. You can't really do complicated models as well without gone too far there. Using Control Z just to undo. Yeah, so you can't finish models without doing it in this mode, but I don't usually spend too much time modeling like this. You will see videos out there where people model most of the time just in Subdivided Mode like so. I'll come out of that for now. I'm quite comfortable with that for now. In fact, what I will do is I'm just going to select that a little bit there and just run one smooth on it. Okay, so the next job, I think we'll run a split all the way through the head top to bottom. So we'll select it from there. I'll just turn soft selection off, just notice that's still on. Select it right through to the chin, and then Alt E. Get that quite close. And then start at the top, and we'll tweak that out through the forehead. Gives us an ability to indent in the middle. We can sculpt the nose a little bit more now. As you can see, it's given us a nice curved nose there. Bring the nose shape out there. This is the philtrum here, which is the bit underneath your nose. And then I'm going to select that polygon there. In fact, not quite. I'm just going to bring that out a little bit before I do it. That's fine. And then using Z, I'm going to extrude, and the same again to extrude it in, and one more time in, back, and just smooth it a little bit. So that will do for now. Play around with the nostrils somewhat. Now one thing that I haven't got yet is a cheek fold here. And on the creature that the reference that I've got, the creature, it does definitely need quite a defined cheekbone. So what I will do is select all the way through here, from the center to the ear, and split that there. What that does is help us get rid of this triangle as well here in a moment. We'll clean the air up shortly. That's given us a nice edge loop back on the edge of the ear. So I'm just cleaning a little bit up as I go there. Bring this, tuck it under nicely now because we've got that bit of extra polygon there. And then I'm going to go in a bit radically now and just cut in what's going to be an edge. And this will be a bit of a mess until I go back and clean it up. So start looking at the cuts that I've made and start bringing them back to some semblance of order. So I want a loop to come round here, and I also want a loop to come down here and follow the line there. So I'm going to do a bit more cutting. I'm building a whole new shape here, as you'll see, and then I'll go in and correct what I've done bit by bit. So I'm quite happy now to put a loop through here, all the way through, all the way around. In fact, no, not all the way around. From there, down, and you'll see what I mean in a moment, to there. So I want to select from there to there and split right the way through. I missed that there. I'll just connect those with, select two vertices, right click and merge. That's those two back to right. Just looking for opportunities as I go there. So that now has cleaned that one up, and that's coming round nicely. We'll lose that one, and that's coming round there. Lose that edge. Leaving a bit of a trail of devastation behind me, but we're going to fix that shortly. What I'm looking to do is finish with a nice clean edge all the way around the cheek, as you'll see in a moment. It's this line here that I'm looking for, this line here, and then we'll rebuild the stuff around it after. So that's coming all the way down nicely now down here. We'll tuck it underneath, finish it off there. Notice I'm not running any splits out beyond the head, so we're not adding any geometry down the neck or anywhere. All of the geometry is being added locally, which is helping us tremendously, keeping it as clean as we can. Now, where we've got that line all the way through and down and underneath, I'll just run a split all the way through. In fact, I won't, I'll do it from there to there. And that's given me a number of things. So if we start at the top here, it's given me an ability to fold in the nose here and give us that flare there of the nostril at the side, which is definitely what we needed. bit of an end on there that I'm going to get rid of in a moment. So it's given me down here, it's given me the ability to fold under the cheek fold, which was a crease that we definitely needed. As you can see there, it's given us some definition to that cheek now. Again, as I said, this is a bit of a trail of devastation in terms of polygons behind it, but that's very easy to fix now that we've got that nice defined cheek line there. And we're keeping a nice edge flow around the mouth, which we'll be needing when we concentrate on the mouth in a moment. What I'm actually going to do here is add in a couple more splits. Just so that I can clean the mouth up a bit around the edge there. Bring that down and round, so that gives us a loop around here, which again will help us when we start to put the mouth in and close the mouth up a little bit. Still got a triangle here, which isn't brilliant, so I'm going to run split there, which gives me that nice chunky lip. Chin's formed quite nicely now. Go in there with the filtrum, as you would get an indent under the nose usually. Make sure, again, we're looking at it all these different angles. Starting to see the need for a split all the way through here. Don't want it going any further than there, and I certainly don't want it going up into there. So what I'm going to do is select it there, and select it back here, and just split it from there to there. So again, distribute these a bit more evenly now. We'll turn that in a moment, so that's not a problem. Check it on the chin, up through the chin. Mouth was fine. Split up there has helped us out hugely. And up here, I'm just going to join that to there, and we'll fix that triangle again in a while. Not worried at all about these triangles because we're keeping everything on the head. Got a few nasty poles like there, but again, it's all to be done later, or on the clean-up stage really. Working quite nicely for us in terms of getting the edge flows right, so don't worry too much about them at this stage, that is. Again, I'm flirting around all different areas at the minute, as you can see, and that's perfectly normal for the way I model. As much as I'm trying to keep it on the head, I'm shooting back and to from the head to from the eye to the cheek. All sorts of movement going on. Tuck that cheek under there. I think we'll put in a split from there down to here. Down to there actually. No, it's not going to let me do it. It's because I've got more than in there somewhere. I've got a 5-sided there. So what I'll do is split that one out. So I've put the triangle there now. And oops, split it there. use the 5-sided, but again we'll fix that in a moment. Another split along this chin. Now I'm just going to do a few smooths, so select there. Whoops. All I'm doing there is selecting a few polygons that I want tightening up and just running a smooth on them, which is Shift Control and roll mouse forward on my machine. You can see I'm just trying it in quite a few areas, just tightening it up. Might mess the eye up a little bit there, so we can sort that out later. But we're definitely messing that eye up there. I'm going to go backwards a little bit with that one. Went a little bit too far with that, so we'll leave that and do that a bit later. Okay, so we're pretty close to the concept. Got a nose shape with some edge loops, got a mouth shape with ready to be indented in with a good edge loop. If you look now, select it, good edge loop all the way around there, which can be worked with. Good edge loop around the eye. Oops. Showing you all the edge loops, good edge loops around there. The nose will be fine with edge loops. So there are quite a few bad polygons in there in terms of tries and 5-sideds, but as a first pass to get the shape, I'm quite happy with that. I've just done an extrude in there and now another one and scale. That gives me the indent in the eye. Just have a quick look at it in subdividing mode, and we're quite comfortable with that. Now in subd mode I will switch on soft selection, just having a quick look all around it, and then I'm going to go to point mode, and then I'm just going to start by rolling the mouse wheel forward, change the size of the influence, and now looking at my reference, I'm just going to pull certain parts of this head into the shape that I want. So pull that ear back a little bit. Far too sharp on the chin there. So again, changing the influence all the time, so we're not affecting too much. Pull that jaw line up, pull the lips out. You can still affect the shape quite dramatically now. Not too happy with the way the flow of the neck was going, so we'll just tweak that slightly. Bit steep on the top. Pretty okay with the horns there, almost where they need to be. Probably need to bulk up these shoulders a little bit. You can see how powerful soft selection is. It's a great tool, absolutely fantastic tool for work like this. Best little magnet you can find. Just tweaking everything to suit my reference. Not going to come off the head too much, so just what I haven't done well enough there is to define the flow of the jaw line round here. So I will go back in and add a bit more geometry around there. When I correct all the polygon issues, 5-sideds and tries, I'll correct that area, put as a more defined jaw in. But as a first pass, I think I'll call that a day on the head.